Meditating with metaphors. This time I'll read you metaphors 32 through 41 along with the accompanying reflections. Explanation 22. René Descartes, the French philosopher, stated, "Cogito ergo sum." Yet, when a human stops thinking and is still aware, this points to pure being, and, from that, pure peace. Dreamlike thinking seems to struggle against the supreme power of conscious being. Metaphor 22. Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." The meditator says, "I think, therefore I exist, but in not thinking I truly am." Explanation 23. This passage refers to the four classical elements: the tree gripping the earth with its roots in search of moisture, nourishment and stability, and thus carrying water within, will, after long exposure of its parts to the wind, eventually come to carry light in the form of fire. Metaphorically, the earth stands for the food and the filth a meditator has encountered in life. Water represents feelings and thoughts. Breath becomes the wind that dries tears and dissolves turmoil, so that after a long period of ripening or drying, the flame, the inner light, may be awakened in the wood. Just like a tree, human problems can be broken down into smaller, more manageable pieces. Metaphor 23. Like the wind, your breath incessantly smacks and caresses the moist pieces of freshly cleft wood until the grain lies seasoned, still, and ready to catch the flame. Explanation 24. The emptiness mentioned in the following meditaphor does not imply nihilism, nor does it signify the absence of ordinary humanity. Rather, it refers to the absence of the self-spun web of names, narratives, assumptions, dramas, interpretations, and commentaries. It is an emptiness filled with the light of awareness, mindful, that chases away all darkness. After some years, meditation no longer feels like a practice, but becomes a calling, as if something is calling you. Whether you were seated on the mat or lying in the bath, in both cases, waste and the lifeless were loosened and washed away. Metaphor 24. Summoned to the mat, I once more sink into the silent self-avoider that I have become, forsaking deed, thought and dialogue, to bathe at times embarrassed being, a hollow held whole by nothing but itself. Explanation 25. Breath is, without doubt, essential in meditation, especially in the beginning. But to truly enter the Garden of Eden, we must shed the self-woven, self-stitched carnival costume we hide beneath the familiar ego. We must dare to stand bare, down to the bone, that is, to the awareness itself, the raw knowing, just as even Adam once did, uncloaked in the earthly paradise. Metaphor 25. Sit down in the swing of your swaying breath, and be carried away into the playground, the garden of now, with no yesterday, no tomorrow, no shapes, no sorrow. Explanation 26. Just as nomadic steppe peoples often share an intimate bond with their horse, whom they cherish, so too must the meditating person cultivate a deep connection with their own mind. Metaphor 26. Breath is the hand that strokes the neck of the untamed horse that can carry you swiftly away. So may you soothe the steed called thought, and now and then dismount, perhaps even lead it and stable it for a while. Explanation 27. To come closer to pure awareness, we must loosen our focus on experiences and invite the impersonal experiencer back to the foreground of our attention, just as it is in a toddler, though now in the full light of conscious awareness. See also Rumi and the Guest House. As the inward-facing neural network seems to lose a certain sharpness of clarity, it may do so in order to make space for imagination, creativity, intuition, dreamscapes, and thus greater possibility. I wouldn't be surprised if this network, described by Laurès, is located in the right hemisphere of the brain, where imagination already holds greater sway, a thought supported on rereading his brilliant brain. Still, it seems we humans are born wearing bifocal lenses, one for convergence, the sharp gaze at the concrete outer world, the other for divergence, the wide, if blurrier, view of the inner world's many possible paths. Fast-running rivers of choice and chance, as the matchless David Crosby sang in his song Delta. Metaphor 27. Thinking loses some of its clarity. It's as if you're moving through life one dimension down, as if beneath a cloudless sky you still walk in the shadow of your thoughts, as if you see and hear underwater, letting your inner light shine bright enough to pierce even thought without casting shadow is essential. Explanation 28. The flow we enter when we forget ourselves through the intensity of an activity, playing music, painting, writing, and so on, can just as well arise in a state of pure being, without doing. What follows may feel passive, yet remains akin in depth. As the wise Lao Tzu said, if you let muddy water settle, clarity will come of its own accord. Metaphor 28. The more consciousness can flow in its wholeness and clarity, the deeper and fuller the mind can sink in it. Explanation 29. This is not so much a true metaphor, but rather a saying or a warning sign. Yet, nonetheless, it can prove quite handy in social settings. Metaphor 29. When you meditate and intensely radiate that, you'll sometimes will be tested and tried. no need to become a saint, nor to be a sham saint. Explanation 30. Attachment to things, thoughts, people, and more makes us weak and unstable. And conversely, our weakness causes us to cling to things, and sows the seeds for frustration, sorrow, and a whole procession of other negative states. The beacon of support, the untouchable consciousness, need not be clung to. In fact, we already are it, and always. We only need to shed a few layers of veiling. It is better to identify with consciousness itself than with the multitude of contents within it. You can only possess something as long as you can hold it in your undivided and unbiased attention, so that you merge with it, become one with it, or rather dissolve into it, until the big ego, that small mind, returns to the great mind, or pure consciousness. Sensual craving causes the degeneration of connection into bondage. Here, banishing is metaphorical. It is better to observe in an unshaped way than to banish anything. Do not hold on, do not let go, but let it be. Live it through and investigate. If there is sometimes as much doubt as trust, could it be because there is still too little living through and investigation? Metaphor 30. Continue to admire, but banish desire. For likely before you hold the desired, desire itself will take hold on you. Explanation 31. The seemingly unavoidable, yet in truth apparent, divide between consciousness itself and its activity. This theme recurs throughout several of the meditaphors. Metaphor 31. Water from the well takes the shape of its surroundings, winding through woodlands, stones and streets. As mist, frost, flake or fall, it drifts and dances, rising as vapor, reeling as cloud, then rains itself home to the hidden spring. Awareness, like magic water, is never missing. In form of flux, it flows unseen, even in the wildest weather of the wandering mind. To be continued. If you enjoy following this project, feel free to subscribe to my channel. That way you'll automatically see when a new piece appears. And if you give it a thumbs up, you'll help others to find this series more easily. Do you know someone who might benefit from it? Feel free to share it. Thank you for listening. I wish you much wisdom. Warm regards, Jostri. Next time I will read you Metaphors 32 through 41, along with their accompanying reflections.